Hi. So the question that was sent to me today is, what is the greatest misinformation you have read about book publishing? So there are a number of things that come to mind. But first, it's an excellent question because if you're getting started with self-publishing in general, I'm assuming we're discussing self-publishing, not just publishing with traditional publishing, though there's a whole series of misinformation that's passed out about that. But with self-publishing, there are a lot of ways in which you can do things incorrectly, and that will cost you a lot of time, money, and maybe your book never even makes it out to the market because of that. But before we get started, just want to let you know this is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com. Hit the subscribe bell or leave a comment or like this video if you would like for me to produce more videos like this one. Also, check out below in the description my free self-publishing checklist. So hopefully that will help you out a bit. So let's start with my story. When I first started, I started with a book that told me how to do the self-publishing, which I actually still recommend. It's a pretty good way. You generally aren't going to want to guess how to get started with publishing. You're going to want that. But I started with a book, and I didn't actually figure out if there was a market. I just figured out, well, what is it that I like to write about? And so I just started writing my first book on a topic I felt I knew something about. I didn't know if there was a market for it or not. And then I also that I didn't understand if there were niches or if that was particular books within the market that I was writing on that would maybe be more profitable for me. And also the idea of specializing in a niche, that was a completely new idea for me. The idea that you would actually do that. So I sort of ignored that, and I thought I could just figure it out by taking a simple by simply taking reading a book that would tell me how to go through the steps. And so some of the misinformation that I was exposed to very early was that it doesn't really matter what you write about because after all, if you just write anything, I'm sure people will be willing to buy it. Now, here's a couple of answers that I came to over the years. One of them is it doesn't have to be so complicated. Some people, when they create a course or they have a book, they try to tell you there's 1,000 things you need to pay attention to in order to get it right. So that can be a serious problem, because if you obviously see that this is going to be so complicated and that if everything isn't right, you're not going to sell any books and you might as well not even bother, that is a major piece of misinformation. The next one is the opposite. It is so easy to publish that you don't even have to work. It's virtually almost done for you right from the start, and that also is a piece of information that some people have in mind. So they get started and they quickly give up. They never manage to get that first book done. And so that's another one. So it's going to require quite a bit of work in order to get the first book done. The next misinformation is the idea that some people suggest that you have to pay a lot of money. Maybe you have to hire a marketing agency, and you have to hire a publishing company, and you have to do all of these things. It's going to cost you tens, $20,000 in order to get your first book out. When in fact, I know it's a little bit of a shocker, but you can actually do it for free. You don't have to pay a single dollar in order to get your first book out. Now, I'm not saying this book is going to sell or be a bestseller by any means, and that you're going to make your money back. I would not recommend going the free route. I believe that it should at least cost you probably about $50 to $100 to get your books going. But if we want to do it for free, it can be done, and there are values in doing it for free because it gets you started, it gets you moving somewhere. And if money's an issue, well, then the free route may in fact be right for you. If you look at some of my other questions, I explore this exact issue in some of my other videos. The next one is you won't figure out the best strategies alone. And some misinformation is the idea that through trial and error, you're going to figure this out. You just need to give yourself a little bit of time, and the best strategies will come to you. And that is completely false. So if anybody's ever told you that you'll just trial and error, you'll get it under control. Some of the strategies, I was completely blown away when I first started taking a number of courses on self-publishing, how many things I was doing that were completely incorrect, and that you double, triple, 10 times the amount of sales when you're following the correct strategies. And you need somebody who's actually aware of those strategies, because you won't figure it out. And there are people on YouTube who post videos all the time telling you strategies that simply they may have worked a decade ago, but nowadays they don't work at all. So That's another aspect, something you're going to want to pay a lot of attention to. And the final one is that the rules of the game are changing continually, and that sort of connects to the previous one, which is something that may have worked 5 years ago may get you banned from Amazon today. So I would highly recommend you not try to just take old content and see if you can something somebody said worked previously and just keep running with it. If you see your sales dropping, it's time to mix things up, to figure out what changes need to be made, and try new strategies. So staying informed, being in a community, being aware of the latest things is an excellent way of making sure that you do not fall for the misinformation surrounding the issue of old strategies still working. Now, some of the basics and fundamentals they stay the same because psychology, the nature of marketing, and the nature of sales do not change over time. And so, if you're sticking with those classic copywriting skills and other skills regarding your book description and your cover and things, those are going to have been the same since they've been since the beginning of time. People really haven't changed that much, and what people are looking for, that also we can learn a lot from things that have been done previously. So, what have you found? Have you ever faced any somebody coming with you with information you thought was valid and then you found out it was actually misinformation? I would be very interested if you leave your comments below and check out the link to my other video above and let me know and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.